Hello and welcome to round 3 of the Hawke Optics British Minirifle Championship here at Silverstone Shooting Centre. We've got another 7 stages ahead of us. The top 2 in the championship are separated by 1 point only. And more interestingly, John, you're going to be competing here this weekend. Tell us why.
Well, yeah, I do actually shoot all the Hawke Championship rounds. Because I'm the match director for it, I don't score myself. But this is one of 2 rounds that we have that is shared with the NRA. They have got a Minirifle league, and 2 of our matches are part of that league, and I do compete in that. So it means that I get to shoot this one as well, which is fun, but it's not easy having to run a match and shoot it the same day, I've got to say. It's not easy.
Yeah, so you're the one who sets the stages up. Have you designed it so it benefits you?
Of course, yes. Everything's designed to help me is the answer. Now, it's sometimes difficult, especially setting up a match, because you set the course of fire how you think it should be shot. And then it's only by watching other people you realise, blimey, I never thought of that, different way of doing it. It's very hard to set a match up and shoot it. It sounds like an advantage, but it's actually a disadvantage, especially when we're doing all this, the TV and everything else there, and shooting in a day. Yeah, I don't tend to do too well in my own matches.
Yeah. So we've got 3 stages on the 50 metre range and 4 on the 100 metre range. What's the difficulty setting?
Well, I've pushed them this time. The comments from round 2 was that, all a bit simple, straightforward. So this time they've got a couple of stages where there are 100 ways of them to shoot them. But also we've got a weak shoulder shoot at 90 metres on plates. I think we're going to see a lot of 0 scores there, because that's well outside of people's comfort zone, which is part of practical shooting. They've got to earn their points here today.
7 stages of varying difficulties ahead of us. Let's see where John ends up. Let's head out to the stages. Well, let's have a look at this championship standings as they are coming into round 3. Jim Starley 2 points ahead of Ben Ducker. Then it's Kelvin Leeson, Tom Ellaway, both joint on 79 points.
Then we've got the seniors, obviously Lee and Dave and Vian. Vian a little bit back, but obviously Lee and Dave are pretty close together. Lady, we've got Maria, obviously the first person shooting, and super senior Paul van der Bosch appears to be taken away from Laurie already after a few rounds. Okay, we're starting them off with stage 1. Nice little speed shoot, this one. Unload a gun on the barrel in front of them. Then they must load, and they must shoot 3 targets that are only 5 metres away, and they're mid-sized targets, with 2 shots per target. Then they must change magazine and then shoot 3 more on the other side. There'll be a penalty for each target they shoot without changing the magazine first.
Up first is Matt Cox. Let's see how he gets on. Looks a bit damp out there.
Yeah, so much for the nice weather we had. It started to pour down rain straight as the first stage. But here's one, if they're smart enough, it should be a nice, quick, fast stage. But if they forget to reload, they'll 0 it. Simple as that. So it's down having some brains.
A fair few alphas there. Counting the rifle to see down his red dot. Marty Secker, we've not seen him.
Yeah, first time out with Marty. Marty's a good shooter. Again, quite a new shooter as well, but he's progressed really well.
Oh, that's not what you want.
Curse the commentator again.
Yeah, you have.
I think that is a magazine issue. Yep, drop the mag. Is his safety on? I think his safety was on. Now he's put 100. Is he remembered to reload again? That's something. No, he's only got 2 magazines, I think, and obviously one is not loaded properly, and that's causing him issues going on. So
I'm not going to be happy with that.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a smiley Matty after that. Marty with that.
Stick off. Hands on the head. Is that in the rules? Is it?
Yeah, the start position was hands interlock, fingers interlock on head. So it's you try and change things around for them. It's like it's everyone's normal start positions, but you try and mix it up. Everyone so far is remembering to do the mag load. That's no change. That's good.
This is super senior Paul van den Bosch.
He likes his little short stages, as Paul.
He doesn't like the running ones.
He's not keen on balance balls either.
Have some tight grouping.
I think he almost shot that. He very nearly went to shoot that.
Oh, it topped up with another alpha.
It slowed him down as well. You could see he was about to rattle through, and oh no, don't do it, Paul, don't do it.
Here's Ben. I love the way he does the fake gun
with his loaded arm. Yeah, dangerous that arm.
Oh, there's an extra one there.
Quick change. That looked pretty quick. Not sure on the scores, but certainly quick.
There's Dave Salmons. Could do with beating Lee Hopwood this round out.
He could do, yeah, because he's not going to drag behind in terms of scores. But I'm just disappointed everyone's remembering to the mag change. It's not fair.
But remember, people aren't that stupid, you know.
Present company included.
Well, here are the results after stage one. It was Kelvin Leighton taking the win. Mike Shue, very good run there, and the quickest time.
Yes. Mike is a quick shooter. He's very limber on his feet as well. Ben, I thought that's a quick run, but obviously he got nipped at the bud with Jim and Josh as well. So, and Lee did take that on the senior.
Yeah, and then Nick Townsend was second in the scene, and Dave Salmons in 14th. John?
Yeah, well, you can't do them all, can you, really? I got beaten by Nick and the senior as well, so the 70% is pretty bad. But hey, I'm there for the numbers.
Paul van der Bosch didn't do too badly then. Richard Dieball, he's a new shooter here this season.
And then Marty Secker, you see that absolute mare with a gun really ruined the score, so he won't be happy with that.
Yeah, Paul Lewis, I have no idea what happened to him.
Gun issue. Gun wouldn't work at all, so he didn't actually fire a shot. Right, start positions. This is the one thing that you should be practicing more than anything else when you're learning to shoot practical mini rifle. Because I can guarantee no matter what a course of fire you're going to have, no matter what it's doing or how it's doing it, there will be a start position. Therefore, it's the most common thing you'll get to do. What we're going to do today is go through the various start positions and a couple of practice details of each one. This is something you can practice at your home range or even practice at home, obviously not live fire. But in terms of your range at home, because there's no moving going on, arguably speaking, you could practice this in a normal range and a normal shooting range environment. Now, first things first, what we have, there are a variety of rules in terms of start positions, being loaded and unloaded starts, okay? There are lots of different calls, option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4, different versions. And you know what? They differ from different kinds of regulations. So option 1, option 2 and 3 for pistol may be different to option 1, 2 and 3 for shotgun because of how the function of the firearms work. So the purposes of today, I don't really care about option 1, 2 and 3. In fact, people complain at me, I've been shooting for 10 years and I don't really know what they are. I was going on the basis of actually asking the range officer what the start position should be. Gets awkward, too late. As far as I'm concerned, asking where you are and what the position of the gun is going to be is a perfectly reasonable thing to do at shooting. Okay, so the thing to consider though, if the gun has ammunition in it of any kind, the safety must be on. If the gun has no ammunition in it, the safety can be off if you so choose. Okay, that's a main rule to consider. So there are different start positions to have and they all depend on whether the chamber is empty or it's forward or not. So first standard position, what we call a racing start, is where the gun is held parallel to the ground with the butt touching the hip, which is belt level from here. So that is a standard racing start position.
Are you ready? Stand by!
Parallel to the ground, butt touching hip. Okay, so that's first things first. So what I'm going to do is do a couple of little details where we're going to start the position, and I've got two targets down there about 30 metres away to shoot at. All right, so feather command loader mode ready, so I can literally take my breech flag out, load my gun, the action's forward, safety is on. What I'm going to do is I've got a timer here, and just do myself a couple of details. All right, and how to start position with your hand position is what you're having is, there's my thumb on the safety. So the moment the buzzer goes off, the first thing I am doing is flicking the safety off straight away. If I'm sitting here normally holding the gun, I've got to do that. So my start position is the thumb literally touching the safety. As long as it's on, that's the process. All right? So I've got on a timer on the start here and we'll go from there.
Are you ready? Stand by.
There you go, first thing to do, first round of the day, and we have a light strike, which is perfect because what do you do in a light strike in a competition? Tough, carry on, shoot them as you can. So that example, first round is a cold gun, first thing done this morning, light strike on it. Rack it, start again. Perfect filming there, couldn't have made that if I tried. Stage 2, this is a tight one, very small area of to move your feet around, good chance in sweeping your own feet, so we'll be careful of that one. They've got to shoot the 6 metal targets with their left shoulder at 90 metres away, then they must move down, then shoot the other 6 targets at 90 metres with their other shoulder. The crucial thing about it is one's a weak shoulder, one's strong. This is going to be tough for them, I think.
This is going to be a tough one, John. You've not made it nice. You're not going to make any friends here.
It's only a conversation. Whatever friends I did have, I threw away on this stage. They all moan like Billy over this one.
See how Matt gets on. That was a good first sighting shot.
The theory being on this is that you should get all the strong ones down reasonably easily because you can lean on the barrier, but the weak ones are going to be tough. The main difficulty is I've given no room for your feet, so they have to be very careful moving back. Now they can step away out of the area, but they've got to go back in the same spot, so they have to be exactly what Matt's doing here is just being very careful with that gun. It's not quick, but it is very deliberate, and he's done a good job so far. But now he's shooting a weak shoulder, and as you can see, awkward is not the word. It's like Bambi on steroids.
Well, as we see Matt struggling with his weak shoulder now. So, welcome back. Ben Ducker taking on stage 2. He's going to go with his strong arm to the right first and then over to the left. See what he can do here.
Yeah, generally you shoot your strong shoulder first, and then obviously leave you more time when you're weak. This is a tough stage, to be fair. And whilst I'm not happy not making friends, but you know what? This would be tough for anybody, really, the answer. The main thing here is now the temptation to run quickly, but Ben's being careful, making sure that muzzle's down range, and now obviously shooting weak shoulder. He can lean on that barrier, but it's not the strongest thing in the world. So,
good first sighting shot. See slightly aiming high there.
He's shooting high and to the left, looks like.
That's low. That's high. That's on it.
Come on, Ben. 2 more. It's not an easy stage to practice for either, this, really.
Might have to reload in a minute.
That's a good point. Yeah, good point. He did reload halfway through, so he did actually. So he had 25 rounds in it to shoot 6 plates, so hopefully be enough. But you good point. You see how he's shaking? He's been holding the guns for a long period of time, so lactic acid is building up in his muscles, and it's very hard to keep the scope level.
Yeah, it's not a natural position to be in either. It's not something he's used to. But there we go. Well done, Ben.
Got it at the end. I don't think he enjoyed that.
He's not happy about that, is he? Let's see how Steve Durant does.
Again, Steve likes long distance shooting, but I don't think he shot much weak-handed.
That's an interesting way to hold the muzzle.
Yeah, again, that's actually a way with the barrier. He can loop round it and get some strength to it. It does look awkward though.
That seems to work for him.
Don't think he's dropped a shot yet, has he?
No.
He's not quick, but he's certainly accurate.
It's his forte, this, isn't it?
He does like long distance stuff.
So he's not really reloaded
So he's
just
very
yet.
careful sweeping his feet there, though. So he's got very close, but
He's not reloaded, so he must be confident.
he's going to need a bigger magazine he's got, I would suggest.
There we go. See how far away that is.
He's doing very well. Once he's got zeroed in, he hasn't dropped it again, so he's doing well. This would be a good time, I think. Well done,
well
Steve.
done, Steve.
Good run.
A round of applause as well. So here are the results. It was Steve Durant who blew it away there. 12% ahead of Mike Shue. Mike Shue's doing well.
Again, Mike is doing very well indeed, yes. But look at that time. He actually murdered everybody. So well done to Steve. That's a good one. Look at Gary Capon and Lee Hopgood. Again, reasonably new shooters, up in 4th and 5th. They're doing very, very well. And then Nick Towndrow's 2nd senior. So in the top 10, you've got 2 seniors. Well done.
David Hill, Otto Michelko, Kelvin Leeson having an absolute nightmare there. And then Dave Salmons in the senior category.
And then look at my score, you see. You can't complain. I didn't do very well on it either. So it's not deliberate. It really isn't.
Then there's Richard Poole, Jeremy Duran, and then there's just 0 scores after. Jim Starley didn't score on that.
Jim couldn't shoot weak-handed at distance, so he actually elected not to shoot that side, which is very, very sensible of him.
At the moment it's freezing cold here today and I'm wearing gloves. I tend not to recommend wearing gloves when shooting because it's one more thing to get in your way. When it's pretty much -1 or 2 here now, sometimes you have no choice. Also, I'm wearing a big thick fuzzy coat. Generally, you should try and practice in the clothing you're shooting in. One of the reasons why our team clothing are made of this nice silky material, it means the gun is easy to slide around the body when you're manoeuvring around the range. So a thermal underneath is okay, but ideally you should practice in the clothes you're shooting. The example being on this jacket here, I could very easily catch the jacket as I'm manoeuvring it, and it'll be bad news in terms of competing. So the purpose of doing it now, and the fact I don't want to freeze my butt off, I'm going to leave my jacket on. But really, if you can, practice with the clothing you're shooting if you can. Okay, so that's the standard position, racing start. Got a few others now. One of the common ones we have is what's called a trail start. Okay, trail is when the gun is held parallel to the ground again, but the arm straight. Now it's quite crucial this, because obviously you bend the arm, it's not a trail position, it has to be a straight arm. Now as you can see, it's a reasonably heavy gun, the Vector. I could hold that for a few minutes, but after a while it starts to get tiring. Now where you hold the gun is entirely up to you. Okay, it makes no difference, as long as it's held parallel to the ground and as long as this arm is straight. Okay, so hold the scope, you hold it at the front, you hold it at the back, wherever you can. Okay, for me with a Vector, very much shoot slightly different, I'll hold it from the back because it enables me to bring my hand up to the shoulder, and then I can shoot.
So it could have been like 30.
So let's go with a strong hand trail start. Get timer going. Again, another light strike. Come from -2 out here, not helpful. We'll try that again, so safety back off. One more. Out of ammo. So that's a strong hand trail. There is also weak hand trail. So this example, other side. So I'm a left-handed shooter, so a weak hand trail. Now this is normally easier because it means your trigger hand is slightly better used. So this example, I hold the gun from the front, keeping it parallel, and then the buzzer goes off, I'm up, into my shoulder, and shooting as you do normally.
Are you ready? Stand by.
All right, so that's it. So that's a strong hand trail, and that's weak hand trail. Okay, next stage, feet touching the markers. It's very similar to the stage before, but we changed the targets to the wonderful yellow balls and I love so much. They've got to start in this position, that's gone round. They've got 7 yellow balls at different distances round to here, including 2 in the far distance. Then they must go round, making sure the muzzle's pointed down range, back the other side, shoot 4 more, and then finally get 2 more at the end here. They're going to love this stage even more if you ask me, because they do love the yellow balls.
Let's see how Wayne Hemming gets on. Stage 3 up next. Yeah, he's used to these balls now, isn't he, Wayne?
Yeah, look at the stages. He shoots the balls very well, so I think he's got them nailed in, really. There I go again. Now they're spread around the range, deliberately to sort of stretch them distance-wise. The last 2 there, the hope was we'd have people forget about them. And again, they must fall off that post to count. So if they roll back and stay there, tough luck, keep shooting it.
And because they're all at different ranges, it tests the where the
holdover, yeah.
the holdover is.
I think you shot that pretty well, though.
There's Maria Bartlett.
And to ensure that it's the same for everybody, there's a little yellow marker you see on the post where it's like to make sure the ball gets put back at exactly the same spot. So it keeps everyone level playing field.
She's taking care of these relatively swiftly. Actually, with the shooting with a red dot as well, she's not doing too bad. Yeah,
doing well here. Shame about the reload on the standstill, but other than that, shooting's been good. Or is that a problem now? You tend to find that in Minirifle, that it's when have a reload that's rushed or you're not putting the magazine properly and straight, that's when you start to get problems. Is this part of the sport, really?
That's a shame that for Maria. Here's Kelvin.
Oh, Kelvin's doing well here.
A couple of misses, but almost. Oh, that's a shame.
That's the way it goes with the balls. That's why people don't like them.
There's Tom. Let's see what he can do. Obviously, they're joint on points at the moment, coming into round 3.
It's very close to those two. It's a bag of paper between them, really. So it's nice to see him shoot. That's a bit unlucky, isn't it? Really
Very
unlucky.
unlucky.
Yeah. The right smile there from Tom. He knows the score. So it's got to fall off that wood. You see the round sitting low is the answer. Again, it's a common one we've seen. Got a fall. Oh, a little bit of billiards there, isn't it? That's a shame. Obviously, too many rounds locking those down. So, all done.
So here are the results for stage 3. It was Jim Starley taking the win. Mike Shue, second place again.
He's second same the whole time, so he's doing very, very well. Not actually seeing him shoot once on the show. So Kelvin did very well. Look quick again, very close to Tom though again. So, but also Kelvin was faster time. Ben not so good in that one, but Marty Secker again. He last run that to 6th. Very good.
And John Thorne, 9th.
Yeah, well, top 10 every now and then. Got to try, haven't he?
Dave Salmon's taking the win in the senior category for that, and then Lee Hawke right behind him. It's a win that Dave needed for that stage.
It did, yes, because Lee was starting to stretch a little away from you this time, but I think Dave pulled that back in the senior ones, and then Paul van der Bosch back 19th, the super senior lead.
Yeah, and Vian Day, Steve Durrant all the way down in 30th.
Don't think he enjoyed that stage at all. And then Nick Townsend again expected better from him than shooting as a next to a senior. He's very experienced, but not a good stage for him.
Well, please to join us after the break.
Okay, we've not done a prone stage for a while. This is all shot prone, so lying down. Position is quite short. If they put the feet down outside this marker, they're going to get penalties. So they've got to stay in here. They've got 2 targets very close, only 5 metres away. 2 more at the side. There's another 2 behind the barrier there at 20 metres. And you've got 6 paper targets, all at about 80 metres. Issue here is do they know they're 0, where they're aiming at 5 and where they're aiming at 85. Should be interesting to see.
This looks like it could be an awkward one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Dave Salmons, being a shorter member, was happy with this one because he actually fits right in. But the longer members, including Jim, who's obviously 6'3", might struggle a bit here. But Steve Osby is good at long distance shooting, so let's see if we get some of the longer distance stuff.
So we don't have to lie prone for these shorter targets?
No, don't have to at all. So he's obviously decided he's going to shoot kneeling this time. Again, that little short position does make it more awkward. So I think he's actually done the right call here. When I set this stage up, I never thought they'd do kneeling, to be honest. So there you go.
They surprise you every time, don't you, the shooters, and what they're going to do with your course. You set out a course of how you're going to shoot it, and then they shoot it a completely different way.
It is difficult. I say about you shoot your own competitions, because when you build the stage, your mind is how to shoot it. And of course, that may not be the best way. And that's always awkward to actually run and shoot your own matches, which is why I always do badly in my own matches, sadly. So.
Fair few alphas down there. I don't know if you could see that, John. Here's Dave Salmons, who...
He'll fit in there happily now, you see.
That's the bipode's going to make it awkward.
You've got to be careful when the gun's upside down like that. Sometimes the ejected round will go straight up and land right back down your breech again, which makes life very complicated. Then he's gone to shoot one side first, then the long ones, then back to the side, which again, wouldn't have thought that was the best way forward, but now they're full-size targets. They should shoot these reasonably quickly. Full-size Alpha is around about sort of 18 inches tall by about 9 inches wide.
Oh, that doesn't look very.
Yeah, and he's run out of ammo as well. So I think
Steady.
I think he's hurt himself in this stage. It could have gone well, but I think this has caused him some issues.
Dave done. Wasn't too quick. I'm not too sure of the accuracy.
I think the running out of ammo hurt him there.
Yeah, it's Paul van den Bosch. He'll be happy lying down, I think.
You know he's going to give us grief for this, don't you? He's not that old. You have to wake him up for this stage as well. He's had his afternoon snooze. So the start positions, everyone must start lying on their back. So that's their start position, the gun on their shoulder. So again here, he's shooting unsupported at a knee. So it's
I must be confident.
yeah.
Seems to be the most efficient way to do it.
And now he's doing the ones at the back now, I think. That's some confidence in your zero in your shooting, so unsupported.
A bit high there.
It's going to be quite a fast time, but the question is where they're all going, isn't it?
There's 2 Charlies, I can see.
Ugh.
There's a couple of Charlies there as well.
I don't know why we bother with scoring. We just basically run the video past you and you tell us everyone scored. It's much easier. Save all that running up and down with patches.
I might just scrap it, I'll tell you when. Well, the results of stage 4. Jim Starley taking a winner away from Josh Hicks and Kelvin Leeton. That's a good showing by Kelvin.
And again, Lee Hawke again. Romping that one again with the 4th place for senior. So he's doing very, very well. Ben, not so good. Didn't like the distance, obviously. And Stegoff, not a bad showing for him. 7th place, you'd be happy with that, I'm sure.
And Steve wasn't too accurate in the end. The time kind of let him down as well.
And Mike Shue finally stopped getting second. Sadly, he replaced with the 15th, but obviously not a good stage for him either.
Yeah, we see Dave Salmons, who was struggling.
You see the time. There's just too much time with that mag change.
And Nick Towndrow, John Thorne, you didn't enjoy that one
Yeah,
either, did
hated
you?
it completely. I didn't actually turn my scope on and had the 0 out, so it's all my fault. Like I said, there's no time to shoot your own matches. It's hard work. That's my excuse anyway.
So let's see what's up next.
Now, other thing about it is the condition of the gun. Now, you can have any number of combinations in terms of it being a strong hand or weak hand trail. It can be an unloaded start or loaded. So, for example, you could have a weak hand trail, unloaded start. Now, the fact it's unloaded means I can have the safety off, which is good. But an unloaded start would be up on the buzzer, shoot. Okay? And again, depends on what you've got in terms of start position. So, you can also, the course of fire can dictate whether the action is forward or not. So, for example, on a Chris Vector, action forward means it's closed, so a closed action. So for me, magazine in, and to shoot, it won't shoot, obviously, because there's an empty chamber. So I have to frack the action before it can shoot. That's quite common. If there's nothing dictated in the course guidance, and when you start for the course of fire, you're always better off to have the action back on an unloaded start. The reason why is that magazine in, unloaded start, let's say on trail, if I need to close the action before I can shoot. If I have the action shut already, I have to literally go up, rack it, and off I go. But if I have the action held back already, the action's now held back, I'm up straight away, much faster. So some course of fire will say to you, you must have the action forward or closed or open. If it's left clear, then always have the action open, because it means you can bring it forward. And that's helpful for the Vector, and ditto for me left-handed shooter. I can move the action forward. But for a right-handed shooter, again, the same thing applies. Action forward in the Vector is with a support hand, so it makes it faster. Okay, on the 50-meter range now. Standing position here, 12 metal plates, 50 meters, fast as you can.
John up first. Let's see how you get on. You can see the rain pouring down earlier. I think it's cleared by now.
I'm commentating myself. They're not what expect me to say here.
Let's talk about your technique.
Too many misses in my liking.
Yep. Slightly high.
Too slow, too many misses, but at least it's done.
Are you ready?
Next is Lee Hopgood.
Now, Lee's good at the plates normally, so... Oh, he's gone for a bipod. A kneeling
A
bipod.
large bipod.
That's a kneeling bipod. So as long as he keeps his knees inside that little box, he'll be more accurate but a bit slower setting up. It seems to be the best way going forward.
Still a
Pretty
few
good.
misses though.
Pretty good, but yeah, kneeling bipods do work. The downside to them, of course, they're a bit awkward when you first start off. So now Josh may go down to one knee for this. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Nope, standing up.
That's a shame. We got the sighting bullet in first and then mix the load.
It's quite tough standing unsupported at 50 meters and with a gun issue. I can see around, see it's jammed in there. That's
Yeah,
stripping off the mag properly. I dropped that mag here. There's one stuck in there. It's a shame, but there wasn't that bad a time at that point in time, I don't think. So
Is he giving up?
Josh would never give up. Oh yes, take it back. Oh dear.
Is Otto?
Not seen him shoot before, so see you get on.
His battle arms.
Otto is battle arms. That's one of his guns shooting, so this will be a good advertising for him, or might not be, depending on how it goes. Let's hope it's good for him. Battle arms is a well-respected gun to me. It's quite new, so I think it's going through its teething, but it seems to be well respected now.
Setting too low on that plate. Quite have the inertia.
It could have clipped off the top. The good thing about these plates is that it either hits or don't. It'll skip off it, make sure it doesn't fall down. Well, mine didn't look too bad now, looking at it. Last one. Well done.
Well done.
Good shooting.
There's Nick Towndrow.
Nick, great guy. Been shooting a long period of time, all kinds of guns, and he's very good at the Minirifle. He likes speed steals more though, shorter distance stuff. Shooting right to left. It's actually quite rare. Most people tend to shoot how they read. Even left-handed shooters shoot that way. It just seems to be a more common way of doing it. But I'm going right to left.
Probably should have gone from left to right. Looking at this.
It's not working out so well, is it really? Rabbits are back there. Look, you see the rabbit hole.
Stick a pound and handful down there. You get rid of them.
He's gone to the plates now. Sometimes it's psychological. You look at it and go, they're not falling down. Let's go somewhere else and then come back to them. So I don't think he'll be happy with this stage, I have to say.
Come on, Nick.
Another one shooting the battle arms gun as well.
Good looking rifle.
Got the end, yep. I don't think he'd be happy, but it's done. Over with, Nick. On to the next one.
Might have to beat that out. Well, here are the results for stage 5. Tom Alloway taking a win ahead of Ben Ducker. Very, very close. Look at that, like less than 1% in it.
That's very, very close, isn't it? Well, these plate steals like that, 'cause obviously it's outside the win or fall over to score. So despite that, Nick did quite well.
Lee Hogwood did pretty well as well. James Harris, David Hill, Steve Durant 13. He's not going to be best pleased. John Thorne 15. So not too bad, John. Mid the table.
I thought he did better than that looking at the times. That stopwatch is not working properly. I have to go back and redo it.
Mark Lloyd, we've not seen him yet, but I'm sure he'll have his chance. Christian Bartlett and then Otto Michalko, as we saw in his battle arms.
Yes, I struggle with that. I think I'm doing sort of time-wise for it. But Ian Davis did very well. Got them all down as well. Super happy with that.
There's still 2 stages to go on the 50-metre range. Please join us after the break. As you can see, plenty of targets, plenty of players.
Now the weather's going to make a difference in this stage. A lot of moving and firing, a lot of reloading as well. So if it's pouring rain, that's going to generate some more issues for them. Start position starting here, then they must move forward. They have an empty gun and all their magazines are 1 magazine on this barrel, 1 the second barrel, 1 the third barrel. They must shoot those targets with just that magazine, drop the magazine, then change the next one. So reload, shoot 2 targets, drop the magazine, reload again, shoot 4 targets, and then the last little kicker is back here is 5 more targets that are all hidden by barriers. They're going to have to move back and forth so they can shoot all 5.
There's Lee Hawke good again. Quick sprint down to the barrel. It's another stage where stage planning is key.
Yeah, I mean, I love this stage. This is not a normal stage. Most people have never shot anything like this, where you're forced to change magazines and shoot targets with it. So I quite liked it, but it did make people have to think about what they're going to do next. And those last ones at the back, you can't see them all from only one position. So you've got to get rid of these ones, still keep some rounds left in the gun, and then traverse back where you can see them all. So I like this stage. It's a good one to shoot. So that's something about it. You've got the small gap between there. You think you've shot a target, and you may have already shot that one. You have to make sure you keep going to make sure you shoot all of them. I definitely think we're going to find some people are going to put 4 or 5 rounds in one target and completely miss the engage in the other one.
All right, let's crack on.
Are you ready?
See how
Stand
Wayne
by.
gets on. See if he's sharp off the blocks. Slight jog.
I was just thinking, has he trying to drop that mag? Yes, he did. That's good. Looks pretty smooth so far. A lot of alphas as well. It's going well.
That's difficult to see from here, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's got a confusing stage. You've got a little aperture to look through. You can see all the targets, but only by moving across. And because they all look the same, it's very easy to walk straight past one target and not shoot it at all. I'm here with Wayne Hemmings. Wayne, how's the day been for you?
Oh, it's been a tricky one today, to be fair. Struggled. A few sneaky little rounds. Really struggled on the long distance stuff, so I need to rethink the strategy on that one, I think. So, yeah, you definitely test this, to be fair.
What do you think the problem was? Zero experience or just the whole idea of it?
I think it's everything. I think it's mindset, to be honest with you. Mindset just overdone me. You just see the distances you've got to shoot at and your brain just goes to pickle. And, yeah, until you work it out, it takes quite a while, yeah, and it's quite frustrating. So, but, yeah, not too bad, but, yeah, that's where I need to work on.
Well, look, well done. Survived the day anyway.
Yes, I did indeed, yeah. Stroll on the next one, eh?
That's nice to hear from Wayne. And here are the results after stage 6. It was Ben Ducker taking the winner ahead of Tom Ellaway and Jim Starley in third.
Again, top 3 being quite close. Then look, a gap down to there. I managed to get in the top 10 again. Thank God for that. You can keep your mouth shut with that one. Gary kept on doing well with the 9th place. And Marty Secker, that's his best run in this round so far. So he'll be happy with that.
Otto just outside of the top 10. Dave Salmons 13th, second in the, first lead in the senior category. Lee Hawke got down in 19th, as you can see.
Again, Lee Hopgood and Mike Shue both being out of their normal positions. So not a good stage for them either, both things.
Nick Towndrow rounding out the senior category. Brian Davis rounding out the super senior category. Maria Bartlett in the lady category.
Now another common start position, and I bet in a competition at least one of these are there, is a position where the gun and or the magazine are not on you, so on a table of some kind or a tyre or something. It's quite a common start because it's part of practical shooting. Now they can be unloaded or loaded, different versions. I'm going to try both here. Generally speaking, when you find it, there'll be the course rules will dictate where the gun has to be, and a common one is making sure the butt of the gun is fully on the table or whatever implement it's on. Reason for that is to stop people being silly and balancing the gun, which could be a safety issue if it's loaded obviously, but also pivoting the gun lifts up the barrel. So generally speaking, they try and keep it so it's on the table itself. So what I'm going to do is do a loaded start. Okay, so load it ready. Okay, safety's on. And again, this is one of those little ones where the different type of gun will make a difference. Shooting the Vector as I do, it has a little gap I can get my hand underneath the gun and I can quickly get the gun on board. For an AR type platform, sometimes you have little bits. Now, it may well be, it's quite a clever way of doing it. Let's say it's a loaded start. There's no regulations about the magazines, so what you tend to do is you balance the gun on a magazine. So it means that gives me more access to my hand to pick the gun up rather than having to scoop it off a flat surface, which is obviously slower. And again, it's a little tricky thing to do. If the regulations may stop you doing it, but if the course of fire says you're okay doing that, you can balance the gun. So there's my magazine, balance on there. So I'm going to do the same thing, and the may will dictate your hands in certain positions. So for example, hands flat on a table, that's a common one as well. Now since COVID, we've stopped doing that because obviously it's touching of things, but we'll do it anyway. This is going to be a loaded start from the table. So do the same thing again. Let's try a few goes. So that was 2.57, garbage. Okay, last stage of the day, all in this little container here, a bit like a shark cage. They've got 4 metal plates, they must shoot in between this aperture here. They've got 4 paper targets, they must shoot through this aperture here. And they've also got 4 paper targets here and 3 steel targets 40 meters away. They must shoot this aperture here. It's a lot of moving around and trying to get the targets where they can see them. This will be a fun stage, I think.
So every shot has to be taken within the confines of the fencing.
Yeah, basically speaking, so the course of that, he must shoot them within. We've given them the option to start wherever they wanted to, so they can choose which targets to go for. So in this case, Marty decided to go for those ones first, but they can't shoot round them. They must shoot within the apertures we've given them. That's in place. So it's an interesting one where the strategy here is where do you start to try and minimise your movement, and also in terms of maximising your chance to hit the score first one. So Marty also chosen to go from right to left, shooting the longer targets first.
Yeah, you do kind of feel with every single stage you're kind of moving from left to right or right to left. Depends if it's efficient, depends if you're left-handed or right-handed as well.
It does, yeah. It's also your personal choice. What you're trying to avoid doing is going back and forth. So you want your movement to be in one direction only if you can. So here's Gary Cape on. Let's see, he's doing the same thing. He started from the right-hand side first. Again, this makes some sense, obviously, because when you're first stationary, you're starting, take the longer targets further away. You'll take more time to aim for them. And the ones that are nearer, you're in transition movement, so a little bit faster.
Oh, we can't do that.
No. Gary has started to ignore all the instructions about that and has just got himself 40 penalty points, I'm afraid. Sometimes it's quite important to listen to the brief.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, it's important to pay attention when the brief is going on.
And James here, the range officer, he will simply just note that and obviously it'll score accordingly. But he won't be able to help them and say don't do that. It's not their job.
David Hill starting from the right. Seems to be the preferred way.
Again, he's gone from one side to the other into the middle, so there's no right or wrong. It's a good stage, because there's lots of ways to shoot it. It just looks quite quick. I'm not sure. Yes, he's got it at the end. Good. I thought we missed that one. The downside to where he's shooting there is he's got to shoot those plates at an angle, so obviously he'd be more accurate for it.
That's shooting from David. Oh, here are the results of stage 7. That was a pretty short one, but Jim Starley takes the win ahead of Kelvin Leeson and Tom Melloway. Look, they're tied together again, aren't they?
They are. They're tied at the hip, those two guys, aren't they, each time? A good score from Christian Bartlett. That's his best score we've seen from him since shooting.
And then these are the overall match results. Jim Starley taking the overall win, and it was Ben Ducker in second place. Very, very tight at the top.
Again, less than 1% means it's less than 2 points between them in the whole set of courses today. Very, very close.
And it's Lee Hawke taking the win in the senior category. So here are the championship standings after round 3.
As you see, Jim taking 3 for 3, so he's 3 points ahead of Ben. It's quite close. Tom and Kelvin are close as ever they can be. Lee is starting to get a bit of a lead on.
So that brings an end to another glorious day of shooting here at Silverstone Shooting Centre for the third round of the Hawke Optics British Mini Rifle Championship. Jim Starley taking the win ahead of Ben Ducker, then it was Kelvin Leeton followed by Tom Alloway. Lee Hopgood taking the win in a senior category, taking the win away from you, John.
Yeah, you're going to mention that. You're such a charmer, aren't you, really?
Well, you're fresh off the last stage. Yeah, talk us through your day.
Yeah, it's never easy. I mean, we tend to shooting your own match is hard because you design the match. You never get a chance. I mean, James and I, one of the other ROs, just shot 4 stages in about 6 minutes. So you have to run through at the end of the day, which is never easy. But there's no excuses. But yeah, it's no, it is my excuse. Screw it.
One thing that caught everybody out, including yourself and Josh and Jim, was the weak shoulder shooting at 90 metres. That was a tough one, John.
Yeah, well, I can actually say, people think I arrange these matches and I practiced beforehand, and I didn't. And I had the same problem everybody else did in terms of looking at the 0-1 thing out on the side. So, and also the very awkward shooting position. I mean, when I built that stage, I didn't test it. so the first time I stand there going, "Wow, what bastard put this in place?" Turns out it was me. So, I won't do that again. That was a tough stage all round, I think. So the fact he even knocked all the plates down, I was fairly happy. But yeah, I can see why they can play now. So I have some sympathy for them. In a little bit.
Okay, so that's the end of round 3. The competition still is going on. Round 4 will be with you soon. From here at Silverstone Shooting Centre, good night.